But in the interim, I do want to make you aware that there is a rally on this weekend, if you'd like to join in. The Rally for Life, it's on Saturday. And to talk to me a little bit more about it, joining me on Zoom is Niamh Breen. Niamh, good afternoon to you.
How are you doing? Lovely to be here. Thanks, Niall.
Well, firstly, there was a little bit of controversy because you put posters up for the Rally for Life, which is happening this Saturday. We'll talk about the times in a few minutes. And there's a viral video going around of campaigners, I'm assuming pro-choice campaigners, removing your posters from the polls. Mind you, little did they know they were doing you a favour because they've just given it a load of publicity. So what were they up to and what was the purpose? And how many of these posters did you put up?
So we would have put up hundreds of posters around Dublin city centre, and you have to apply for permission, Niall, to do that. And we got the permission and everything else, so that there was no issue there. And they're put up by volunteers. You know, ordinary men and women go climb up ladders and put up these posters because they believe in the cause. And as you said, one of the volunteers made a video. Somebody then tried to take the poster down, tear it down in Rathmines. And
mind you, it took him a long time to get the one poster down. He didn't succeed very well. He wasn't doing a very good job at removing it and vandalising it.
No, there was a lot of slagging, I think, on Twitter and Facebook about that. You know, that it seemed to be a huge effort for him to get the one poster down. But it probably speaks to a wider picture, to be honest. Like, the rally's taken place against, amongst many other things, the context of this kind of attack on free speech in the country. And in a minor way, I think the attempt to remove the poster speaks to that. You know, there's a huge intolerance, I think, very much on the liberal left in this country, where they don't want people to have a point of view that disagrees with theirs. They don't want that publicly expressed. So they do things like remove your posters. They used to in the past. They don't anymore, thank God. You know, come to the rally and counter-protest it and throw things at protesters and stuff like that. And it's all absurd, isn't it? You know, I mean,
well, it is. It's all. I mean, they claim to advocate for free speech, and yet it's free speech as long as you agree with us. So, of course, there are two sides to the debate, particularly when it comes to termination of pregnancy. And more recently, we've seen, obviously, the government talk about the review in relation to that legislation. Now, I know Leo Varadkar said he would be uncomfortable changing any of the rules and the legislation around it. And by the way, a future government could actually ban or make it illegal again. So we don't know what's going to happen down the road. But certainly there seems to be a great push to remove the 3-day waiting period, a great push to extend the 12 weeks to 22, or even further in some cases, some people have advocated, a great push to decriminalise any doctor who does it outside the realms of the legislation. And there seems to be a push to have a free-for-all.
There does. And, you know, I think an awful lot of people listening to this show, Niall, because you had loads of debates about this before the referendum. You were one of the people who I think let both sides air their views. And an awful lot of people who voted yes are deeply, deeply unhappy. And we're seeing this in emails to the office. We're seeing this on social media. You're seeing it even in letters printed in the Irish Times. People are saying, I didn't vote for this. I didn't vote for this free-for-all. And they're looking at extraordinary things happening, like Reid Smith putting a bill before the Dáil, which would legalise abortion to all 6 months of pregnancy for any reason at all. Like, this is
taking away the criminalisation or the criminal aspect of
but you want abortion legalised for on demand right up until viability. That's 6 months. Anyone who's had a baby knows at the size of the baby at that stage, it would be absolutely horrifying. Yet you had Fine Gael TDs like Neil Richmond and ministers like Catherine Martin supporting Reid Smith's bill in the Dáil. Was really extraordinary. And as you said, we're seeing people who voted for repeal saying, hold on, like, we were guaranteed there'd be a 3-day waiting period, and that would help women, give them time to think, let them choose a different answer than abortion.
And then you've also got now Stephen Donnelly, of course, pushing against the conscientious objection, saying that, you know, more hospitals, more doctors need to be providing it, and they want to obviously remove that as well. Now, of course, there still is a large percentage. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, now, one of the speakers we're having on Saturday is actually Dr. Trevor Hayes, who's a very well-known obstetrician gynecologist. Like, he's delivered thousands of babies, and he has a really strong pushback against what Stephen Donnelly and others are saying about conscientious objection. And he said that he and hundreds, perhaps thousands of others like him, would rather leave medicine than be forced to perform abortions or be forced to take part in abortions. And they're saying this because they know that in their view, abortion is not healthcare. It doesn't help women. It doesn't help babies. And they're saying they won't be bullied by the government. And they're making the point as well, and it's a really strong point, that we're currently, you know, the health crisis in this country seems to be going on forever. And maternal health care is in a terrible state. We regularly have staff, obstetricians and midwives saying, look, we're understaffed, we're under-resourced, we're having a really difficult time trying to cope in maternity hospitals. And yet you have the abortion review being used almost as a big stick to beat pro-life doctors and nurses. You know, you will have to do this or you are going to be fired. And Trevor Hayes is saying, look, we'll walk away from medicine if you try to force us to do abortions. But like, why would the public support that? Why would we ever put ourselves in a situation where you're firing or dissuading really good doctors and nurses from practicing medicine because you want to force them to do abortion? Something's seriously wrong with the government.
Okay, well, so the purpose of the rally this weekend, and what exactly, by the way, are the Life Institute and yourself? What are you looking for? Obviously, you would prefer if there was no abortion in Ireland. Unfortunately, for the moment, that ship has sailed because we've had a referendum. 67% of the voting population were convinced that it was a good idea based on what you rightly said. They were told it would be 12 weeks, 3-day waiting period, etc., etc., etc. That the goalposts are now moving as predicted. So what is it and the rally that you're actually campaigning for, or what are you looking to do?
So
or what would you like to see happen?
Yeah, like thousands of people come to the rally every year. It's a really huge event. Like, it stops the whole city centre. It's a big parade for life, if you like, a big celebration of life. But it always has a really serious message. And the message this year is that we're holding the government to account. We're saying to them, you told all of the voters, not just the pro-life ones, that abortion would be rare. And we're seeing this horrendous jump between 2021 and 2022. 8,156 abortions last year, a jump of 22%. There was already a jump post-repeal of almost 100% anyway, but now we're seeing another huge jump on top of that again. And we're saying to the government, why are we having this conversation about scrapping the 3-day wait and about attacking pro-life doctors? Why aren't you doing something to try to bring down the number of abortions? Why aren't you taking practical, sensible measures, helping women, helping crisis pregnancy centres, letting women know that it doesn't need to be the default option? There is help and support there. Like, I think a lot of people who voted yes, Niall, are horrified by those numbers. You know, I know people I speak to, they're going, they couldn't believe it was over 6,000 a year later. They absolutely can't believe it's jumped again to more than 8,000 now. And a lot of people are saying, what is the government doing about it? Why are we seeing this obsession with promoting abortion, with getting rid of anything that might give women time to think, and instead this push?
I don't think anybody, well, I would hate to think, and I think even those comments were echoed by Leo Varadkar, I would hate to think anybody in this country believes abortion is a good thing. Nobody believes it's a good thing. I was quite horrified, actually, after the referendum to see people celebrating at Dublin Castle. I actually thought that was quite disturbing. Anybody that would be jumping up and down smiling. Now, I don't know whether they're celebrating their victory or celebrating the fact that we now have abortion in Ireland. I don't think it's something to be celebrated. I do believe, and I'm non-judgmental in the respect that I would never judge a woman for having an abortion. That's her choice, not my choice. I wouldn't go along with it. Morally, I don't believe it's right, but I would never judge somebody else for making their own choice in relation to it. But the march is, or should I say the rally, is on Saturday. It's a kind of full day event, isn't it? It's not just a, we want more, we want more. It's not just walking around holding placards and shouting and roaring. There's going to be food, there's going to be fun, there's going to be all the... So it's a good day out, I suppose, if you're of that ilk.
It's a good day out, yeah. And lots of families come with kids, people of all ages. There's a brass band, there's music. In the morning before the rally, there is a whole host of events. There's a rally fest with stalls and face painting and balloons and for the kids, everything like that. There's mass for people who want to go at 12. Bishop Kevin Doran saying that. And then there's the rally itself, the march itself. And afterwards, there's more speakers and talks and getting together and having the chats and a cup of coffee.
So ideally, you'd like them to be there for the whole day. Yeah, ideally, you'd like them there for the whole day. But where's the kind of meeting point, I suppose, for where you walk? I mean, where would the best place for people to meet be?
Yeah, so Parnell Square, and the rally leaves at 1 p.m. And I know it used to be like this, but nowadays there's football matches and stuff on coming through Dublin in the evening. So the guards are anxious that we leave, 1 o'clock, 1:15, and we march down through O'Connell Street down to Custom House Quay. There's some great speakers like Trevor Hayes, who I just mentioned, Isabel Vaughan Spruce, who's this really great activist from the UK, who was arrested for praying in her head. People might remember that video. It went absolutely viral, millions of views all over the world. And she was praying at an abortion centre, and the police came along and asked her.
The thought police, you mean the thought police came along? Yeah.
It was the first thought crime. It was so Orwellian. She's speaking, Paula Tobin, Sharon Keogh, and who are great advocates for life and great feisty people, and lots of other speakers.
All right, well, look, people should be looking forward to it. It's on this coming Saturday. Be at 1 o'clock at Parnell Square if you want to meet, or before that if you want to go along, and you can hang around as long as you like. It seems like it is going to be a fun day out as well, apart from anything else, apart from having a very strong meaning and a passion about it too. Listen, Niamh, thank you very much indeed for joining us today. And I appreciate you coming on the air and talking to us. That is Niamh Breen from the Life Institute. And the Rally for Life is on this coming Saturday. That is this Saturday at 12 o'clock at Parnell Square.